All right, Judgment
I
Engine.
hope that wasn't copyrighted.
Episode 2. I was thinking about that too while I was beeping. I was like, I don't know what
Am
song
I just
this
humming
is.
the Simpsons theme?
I got scared and I was like, don't do anything. Don't do anything real. All right, so welcome to episode 2 of Judgment Engine, but episode 3 of
70.
episode 70 of Game of Thrones, or season 8, episode 3.
Sure.
Look, it's important to break. There's a lot of numbers. We need to break this down, right?
Murdering of Winterfell.
Yeah. So I don't know. I don't know what this episode was titled, but I'm gonna assume.
I think it's the Battle of Winterfell.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm assuming it's something very generic because I honestly can't remember any of the episode titles, so I can't imagine that they're actually good.
Yeah, I think the last one was the Night of the Seven Kingdoms or something. So
it
it's
seems
as badly labeled as our podcast. It's just a
yes, obviously. It mostly just seems kind of like a throwaway, like we made someone do this 5 minutes before we pushed the episode out, sort of thing.
Name the file so we don't get confused.
Yeah, not slam your keyboard, finished, done, complete.
WAS 2, no. Can't call it that.
All right. So to kick things off, episode 70, did it live up to your expectations? Was the Battle of Winterfell as battly and Winterfelly as you wanted it to be?
I mean, I guess we have to start right off by saying this was a dark fucking battle. Like, I couldn't see anything.
Okay, we can talk about that right away because this is something I was going to save up, but we can just jump right into it. So I think the obvious comparison here is if you want to look at, I guess the standard for kind of medieval-esque giant battles is maybe like the Lord of the Rings movies.
Sure.
And
or their own Battle of the Bastards.
No. I'm gonna get to that too.
All right,
that's a separate point. Okay. So pre Battle of the Bastards, right? To me, the go-to, like the standard classic was like Lord of the Rings and what was the one in the Two Towers? Where they defended
they
the
go
keep.
down the hill and I got you.
I'm losing points here.
Two Towers is literally people just think of that battle.
Oh, it's so good though. Helm's Deep.
Sure.
Okay, so there's like Helm's Deep, and then like Return of the King has the big, has like kind of like the big whatever. I guess there's multiple battles, but anyways, it's more open or whatever, right? So, they have I think like Helm's Deep is like more of like a darker sort of tone because it's like a fight for survival, whatever. Right. And then like
backs are up against the wall.
Yeah, and then in Return of the King it's more open or whatever, right? And it's more just like and charging horses and whatever, right? Mm-hmm. So that was kind of like, for me at least, like the standard of like what medieval kind of warfare was in like cinema and whatever, especially on like a large scale, right? So then Battle of the Bastards came along, and I thought it was great because it was so different compared to Lord of the Rings, because Lord of the Rings, like, there's like focal points. It's like, here's Aragorn, he's slashing, he does a twirl, he does a stab, and that sort of thing. Whereas Battle of the Bastards was very just like, it was like brute force, and it was all up in your grill, and it was dirty, and it was like literally like there's like mud flying around and people.
There are mass tactics too. It wasn't just like two people fighting and they win or lose, and then you go to the next thing.
Yeah. It was brutal and bloody, and I really enjoyed that.
Yeah.
And I think this battle, Winterfell, episode 70, whatever the fuck this is.
The Battle of Episode 70.
Winterfell on a snowy night. I think it was like shot in a similar way. Like, it was very just like people.
They tried to make it disoriented.
Yeah.
I see what you're saying. But the camera techniques.
But I hated that because Battle of the Bastards took place in the light.
Yeah.
And this was fucking dark as hell. And I know maybe we didn't have optimized settings or whatever for our viewing experience, but in general, it was super fucking dark.
Yeah, and the undead don't glow, and they're like black.
That's another thing. So so two things. One, they have like the blue eyes, but they weren't like glowy blue eyes.
glowy blue eyes.
I couldn't tell, right? And then two, nobody has a distinguishable silhouette. I would argue that the only people who had distinguishable silhouettes were the Unsullied, because they had very they're like pointy helmets, and there's really sharp shoulder pads and stuff, whereas everybody else was just a blob covered in like armor and fur.
Yeah, I thought the red beard guy died like 3 times, and then he's standing there at the end, and I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah, no, like even our like protagonist people all kind of looked the same. So I could only tell them apart. Like, obviously, like, when one of them's standing by the fire or whatever, you can see. But otherwise, you just have to listen to their screams.
I mean, that was a funny trick. Whoever wrote this episode was like, okay, and then we can see for a little bit, and then they light up their swords, and then we can't see anymore.
I loved, and like,
I like the idea of they will attack at night because they don't give a shit.
No, okay, no.
You know, I like that idea.
I think tactically it makes sense, and as far as the whole like he's the Night King and whatever makes complete sense. But I think visually it was hot garbage because you couldn't. It was just a giant sludge ball of like things happening. And
when they did light up the swords, I'm like, okay, we'll be able to follow. And then they're like, all those people are dead.
So I figured we were going to be able to tell their progress based on how many lights were going out, and I was like, that's a neat trick because it helps us see, and because we can tell the progress of the battle. But then they immediately extinguish them, and I'm like, never mind. Okay. So before I lose it, Brienne has the best yelling sounds because so everybody else is just like generic, like, and she's like, ah!
Yeah.
So I always know, and I'm like, oh, she's safe. That's good.
I thought we'd get some Sansa yelling, but then they did Sansa hiding. So
yeah, she like immediately left.
We got an Arya yell.
Okay, but hold on. One final thing about the battle thing. So about like how it was like shot and stuff. So the only times where I ever felt like I like actually knew what was happening was when they did do, I don't want to call it the Lord of the Rings thing, but when they did have like the focal points of like, you need to look at this is what's important, like, look, it's Legolas fucking skateboarding up a giant elephant or whatever, right? I'm like, I see what's happening here.
Here's the main character running towards something.
Yeah, so when they're like, hey, they're climbing up the walls, I'm like, got it, look at the walls. Or like when the big giant man shows up, I'm like, got it, look at the big giant man. Yeah. But they spent so much of the time both in darkness and also like quick, jagged kind of like back and forth weird cuts. Where I'm like,
the on the floor battle stuff went really like.
Yeah, completely just like washed over me because I couldn't tell what was happening.
And because they did a decent job with it when they did whatever the battle was of the First Men, the Bay of the First Men or whatever, when they come over the wall in the wildling camp.
Yeah,
like that was actually pretty easy to follow. Even though it was the
I would say
tactics.
This was the like hardest to follow fight.
It was really hard.
And I think that's a shame considering like it looked like they tried.
And it was the big one.
Yeah, this was the big one, and I think it fell flat.
I mean, they could have used that like night wave different ways, like make it less personable. Like don't have them when if they get swallowed by it, they die, because then you don't have to see individual parts of it. You know what I mean? But instead, it got all around them, and then they're kind of like standing knee deep in it, and then it's really confusing.
The fact that they had like the weird kind of like blizzard snowstorm things got even foggier. On top of it, they're like, I was like, no,
you can't see, I can't see, the dragon can't see. They even hit each other.
Oh my gosh.
They're like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah, the dragon stuff I thought was terrible because like I couldn't tell where the dragons were at any given time. I had no reference to where they were on the battlefield. I had no idea how much impact they were having.
I think the one John was on died because it got its neck snapped, but I couldn't really tell.
No, I was confused at that too. I was confused how that thing happened. I was confused when the White Walker started climbing up.
If John had landed on his dragon and then that dragon started blowing blue fire, I'd be like, okay, I guess he switched in the air there. I have no idea.
Yeah, so the dragon part was extra confusing because I had like no spatial reference of where they were, and then they did this thing where they kept cutting to show like Daenerys and like Jon and their reactions or whatever, but I thought that was terrible because
They were just hanging on.
Yeah, they did nothing, right? So this wasn't
like
so for reference,
do a barrel roll.
This is not like it's one thing if they would have contributed, but they did nothing. Like
the other one was like trying to line up his shot.
Yeah.
Night King.
Yeah.
Like, Night King.
So Night King was the only one who I thought was doing it right. He like pulled out his weird ice spear thing, and he's like, "I'm gonna fucking do it." He's like, "I'm gonna get me a second dragon."
And one.
Yeah, I was ready. I was like free throw time. But like, and like I understand that like they've never had to do like aerial combat before, so it's not like Daenerys has ever like needed to like learn how to do like have a bow, or like Jon never practiced like swinging his sword while on the dragon.
He's
or whatever,
ridden
right?
it once, so
yeah,
he can be forgiven. But.
Yeah. But it felt really stupid because I'm like, why are you even there? What are like? And it didn't even seem like
enhance. And to be fair, his arc is he did nothing.
Yeah, yeah. So that's another thing too. Is as far as like, did it meet your expectations? I thought the battle was hard to tell what was going on, and it was kind of messy.
Like how did he live when he's surrounded? It just has him kind of fight his way out a little bit. You know what I mean? And then Daenerys helps him. That's fine. But like it wasn't poised in such a way that I could see how he could fight his way out.
Yeah,
you know?
no,
it's just like I'm okay.
It definitely made it seem like when Jon was surrounded by all of the White Walkers that were like immediately rezzed by the Night King.
You're
that
fucked.
Yeah, because it was like 50 of them, and it wasn't just like they were in front of him; they were like surrounding in a circle,
and they kind of edged in too. It wasn't like you could sprint out of them.
Yeah, and we had
that was a nice scene though when he's sprinting towards the Night King, and he's like, nope.
we had been seeing for the past however many minutes of the battle that you can like. It's not like they're slow and weak and dumb. They were like fast and like stabby and aggressive, and the fact that he managed to kind of just like weirdly worm his way out of there. Yeah, I'm like, how are you doing this?
But so I'll say, I think I saw the money on the screen, and for a TV show, it was impressive.
Yeah, so I guess that's the big thing is, so for me, like my main comparison was to like Oscar-winning Lord of the Rings movie, right?
And it, it looked decent in comparison.
Yeah,
not as clean, but
so as far as like a TV show goes, maybe if you're looking at it specifically in that sort of lens, then you can say yes, it met my expectations. It was a big battle. Things happened. There were some focal points. There were some cool things. Whatever, yada yada.
I mean, compared to how far we've come in season 3, when they'd be like, "We fought it," like there'd be 5 people standing in a room. We fought a battle just 2 hours ago, and that was like, that's it. That's the battle.
Yeah,
that's what you get.
I think it was good for, I guess, the TV show, and it was good for like where we like came from, like where we ended up. Like this was pretty good, but I guess for it being the big battle, and for this being like maybe the most popular, most hyped up TV show that like I have ever known, maybe like ever, it felt a little like looser than I thought it was going to be. Like I felt like it should have been more structured, I guess. So maybe this is my fault for having like not just like high expectations for like a TV show, but high expectations like it needs to be like big $100 million movie quality. So maybe.
So the key question though is, were there enough deaths? Did enough people die? I want to start this off by saying being a main character was very good this episode.
Yeah.
It was very sweet.
So, okay.
Sweet nectar.
So my opinion is no.
Yeah, I agree.
And here's my reasoning behind it. So I'm assuming we will have, since we have, what is it, like 3 more episodes, we will have more conflict in the future and people can die off there or whatever, right? However, if you are going to build this up as like this is literal death coming to kill us at our doorstep. This is a fight for like the survival of humanity, for civilization, for the world as we know it, because this will change everything. I think you have to kill off more people to make it seem meaningful.
Not just that, but they were fucking losing bad.
Like
You
the
know what
whole
I mean?
time.
Yeah, the whole time. Almost immediately.
Yeah. The first thing that happened was they went like minus 3,000 people or something.
Remember Dothraki? Now you won't, because they're all dead. So good thing there were no main character in Dothraki.
Yeah.
But Jorah comes out. He's like riding out of
Yeah,
there.
he's like, nah, I'm
That's
not
fine.
about that life.
I mean, they get him eventually, but it took 3 or 4.
It's because they couldn't see him because she didn't light a sword on fire.
Oh, I see. Yeah,
he
that's
was
right.
sneaky. He was like, no.
Yikes.
Yeah. So pretty much what I got from it.
Their backs were against the fucking wall, and they're just like, it's fine. I'll just keep. Like, even Jamie at one point, they show him like shoved up against a wall, and he's like, I'm okay.
There were a lot of times where people got like overwhelmed by like 6 White Walkers, and then someone's friend came and helped and chopped them down, and it was okay.
Yeah, that happened if you were a main character. If they saw a not main character go down, they'd just like shake their head. And
They're like, that's a
man.
shame.
That is too bad.
And
Sam also. Sorry, Sam.
Although, hold on, did we explicitly see him die,
No,
or did he
I
just
think
get
he
covered?
was. Yeah, I think he was just doing the like I'm crying because I'm sad on the battlefield thing.
That's fine.
Yeah. Even though my walkers are like, this is too pathetic. I don't want to touch that.
They're like,
This sow is dying of pregnancy. I don't. Our work is done.
like they hunt down anything that moves or makes a sound or whatever, but they're like, that's too pathetic of a sound. That can't be an enemy that we need
right
to.
in the pathetic frequency.
Yeah, so pretty much I think my problem is the people who we did end up killing off were like, essentially if you ranked the characters from like S tier to whatever, we killed off like the D tier people.
Yeah.
Right? Like if you're counting like Daenerys and like Jon as like an S tier or whatever, and then we kind of go down blah 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 blah.
Yeah,
we killed like Jon's friend.
Fireplace team. Yeah.
Yeah, we killed like Jon's. Yeah, Fireplace team is at least a B ranking or whatever, right?
Yeah.
We killed like Jon's friend from the Night's Watch.
Yeah.
Who?
Rando from the wall.
Yeah, we killed him. We killed Flaming Sword Eye Patch Man.
Who's died 7 times.
Yeah, so it almost is like.
Yeah, just fucking lay down, man.
Let me see who else.
The little Marmont.
Yeah, but she did something cool first.
Yeah, so she earned it. She got a cool death.
Yeah.
So and Theon, who did the same thing.
Yeah.
He's like, I killed like 100 of these guys.
So, really, I would argue. Oh,
Where
and
did it even come from?
Even Eye Patch Man did something cool. Like he was like, we have to get Arya out of here.
Yeah,
I will
that's
sacrifice
true.
myself.
Yeah,
So
he
I
got
would.
Arya in.
The only like gotcha death was Night's Watch. I think his name's Ed.
He goes fast.
He was like the.
He's number 1 too.
Yeah, so I thought he was
First
like.
name death.
I thought he was setting the tone for like, this is what's
Yeah,
gonna
we'll
happen in
ease
the
you
battle.
into the pool.
Yeah, like we're gonna kill off him, and then we might kill some of the Fireplace crew, which is like Jamie and Brienne.
So you think Jamie
and
should have died?
Someone should
one of them.
have.
You don't care who.
Yeah,
But
no,
maybe
I
in the
don't.
Crypts, maybe Sansa goes.
Yeah, no, I was ready to let go of.
Like the Crypts also, they got out of all the main characters got out of there scot-free. They're trapped in there. None of them can fight, and they're like, we're okay.
Oh, I guess Jorah dies, but he also
Yeah.
did the cool thing.
So Jorah was that was the sacrifice.
But
That was
I would
guy
argue like Jorah is like
fucking Gendry's alive.
C tier, maybe B tier
Yeah,
at
and
best.
he has an unresolved arc because he's the +1 on a relationship that's already done. You know what I mean? Like he has nowhere for him to slot in. Grey Worm, I didn't see him die. I guess they could pull his body out like later, but he seemed fine the last time I saw him.
I think anyone who was even remotely a main character was
Grey
fine.
Worm should have died. I mean, that should have been. He was on the front lines. That's a sacrifice that just makes sense. You know what I mean? Like he has to die.
There were a lot of people who were on the front lines who were also characters that we knew about who were just like, I'm okay.
Yeah, I'm fine. Yeah.
And
Just squeezed up in here. Yeah. So there should have been not a lot more, so you can keep some people because you need intrigue.
I
You
think
need Jamie for his Cersei moment, but you can kill Brienne.
I think you could have gotten away with killing, like, you could have killed one or two of the fireplace crew. Like, you kill off, like, Brienne, you kill off Wildling Man or whatever, and then, like, maybe in the crypts, like, Sansa dies or Tyrion dies.
That'd be shocking.
And I think that's like juicy enough to feel like the battle meant something.
Or even the crypt part, because really they murdered like some women and children, and that's like that turn of like, oh no, you're in the crypt, you made a mistake. You know what I mean? It doesn't mean
anything.
It has no point.
especially since Sansa didn't. I thought we were at least gonna get like a Sansa fighting scene. The fact that she hid behind the coffin thing, and then it was all Gucci.
Wasn't that a nice little moment between them though? Or
Yeah. Yeah, no, that was
kiss
cute.
and make up.
But did it? I don't know. Was it enough? Was that what you wanted out of this?
Yeah, I mean,
It was nice. It was a welcome moment. It was like a very nice, pleasant moment.
Come a long way to hide behind this crypt.
Yeah, in a sea of disaster and despair and whatnot. But I don't think we really. I don't know. I don't think enough people died, and I think more people could have died.
Yeah,
like. And I was ready for it when Jon was by himself.
Like, take me.
When Daenerys fell off the dragon.
How did Jon live through this shit?
I was like, you know what? I was like, I didn't think you guys had the guts to kill off one of those two. But I was like, if this is how it happens.
When Daenerys fell, I'm like, are they actually going to?
Yeah, I was ready for it because I was like,
and they're like, no.
This is a big move, and it's also like, I don't want to say it's like the most fitting way you can kick them off, Like if Daenerys dies because she like stubs her toe and gets like an infection and dies or something, that's stupid, right? But
she dies fighting the Night King.
Yeah, if she gets killed by like the literal like I am the most evil whatever thing, then it's like okay, like you had like a really good run and you got your dragons and like sometimes you just come short and that's okay, right? And that's like a fitting, like you didn't die in a bad way. Sort of thing. But then they were like, no, it's okay, she's cool. Jon Snow's cool.
I mean, anything that happens here is prophecy, right? So that brings us to, is this Bran Ice King arc now, which is now over, right?
Yeah.
Bran won.
I guess.
Go Team Three-Eyed Ribbon. Was that satisfactory? Because we're in the end game way hard now because like the big threat is done. It's iced King.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. So what I... Okay, so when he went into his like weird meditative state thing, and he started like flying around Raven whatever shenanigans, I thought this was going to be I thought he was doing some weird like Hail Mary play.
You really wanted him to take that dragon over.
So I still want him to fucking like ride the dragon because he would have been super hyped. And I got baited into it. Okay, we're gonna go back to the Bran thing.
Let's go.
No. Because when Jon is fighting to stay alive when he's being encircled, and then Daenerys' dragon burns them down and like saves him. He says Bran, and at first I thought he was like referencing the dragon. I was like, oh shit, Bran came through with the dragon.
Oh yeah.
But then Daenerys was like, yeah, go get him, and I was like, shit, no, I misinterpreted.
Bran, wait.
Yeah, I thought he was saying like, oh my god, Bran, like you did it.
No, Bran, he's not looking over here for once. That's weird. Usually his eyes are right the fuck on.
So okay, so what I thought was happening was Bran was gonna do some sneaky bullshit, and he was like, what he was doing was like the Hail Mary, like while everyone's distracted, while everyone's doing the big battle thing, he's gonna do some like he's gonna
got an elephant.
Like he's gonna like rush the base or whatever, like, and he's gonna blow it up before the enemy can win or something. Like so, I
went back in time and killed your great grandfather.
Yeah, obviously.
But no, he did nothing.
He on the surface did nothing. There's still a chance that it could actually turn out to be something, considering.
To me, it looked like he was just going, I'm over here. Like, my ravens are...
Yeah. So it could... It could literally, you could just take it on surface value and be like, he went into Raven mode, so he could either draw attention or he could just look at what was going on because he was curious or something. And I think while that has a definite chance of being like what actually happened, I'm really hoping it's not, because to me that was the only sort of like mystery that's left in this episode in this world right now.
Yeah, so that's the issue with these arc, is now like all that stuff is basically closed.
Yeah.
All the wall, all the old magics.
Yes.
The old witch is gone. Everyone who knows anything about anything is dead, or Bran, who just sits there and looks at you.
Yeah, and Bran doesn't look like he has any sort of aspirations for like taking the throne or doing anything like, I must purge this world with fire or anything.
After the battle, they were probably like, do you want to go inside? And he's like, just keep me by the tree.
It's a warm tree.
I'm fine. I don't care.
Yeah, as far as...
Is the battle over? I was watching... Avengers Endgame.
So
I'll explain it to you later what that is.
Does he also have to explain the other 30 movies, or is he just gonna come jump straight to the...
No, he's not gonna explain shits because he's fucking Bran. He doesn't give a shit.
He's like, you can probably skip the first and second Thor, but try and watch Ragnarok.
Try to catch the third Thor if you can.
Yeah, so...
It was a little cute for me. I would have liked this to go a little longer. Maybe at least a two-parter.
Yeah, so I thought they were gonna do the like they were gonna like lose, and then we were gonna have more
the
conflict.
Scramble,
into another episode. But they cleaned it all up, and they did it way more effectively than I thought they were going to.
It's like the writers literally threw Arya from a battle to like, go stab that motherfucker.
So
we need to get out of this.
So I'm fine with her killing the Night King or whatever. That's fine.
That's nice. She was the one with the skill to do it. Fine.
So two things though, three things. I thought it was gonna take more skill than just running at him. Like, I know she did it in like a sneaky way where no one knew, but she didn't have to do any like face swapping shenanigans. Like, she
wasn't even sneaky. Where'd she even fucking come from?
Like, she could have been
It
Bran.
seems like she just drop dead sprinted, and jumps.
Like, yeah, she like, we got the one of the White Walkers, like his hair kind of blue or whatever, and that was it. But yeah, imagine if she had switched places with Bran somehow, and then Bran was the one who stabbed the White Walker or the Night King. You would have been like, what the fuck?
Yeah,
Bran's done nothing, and then you're like, oh, it was Arya.
That's actually what I thought was going to happen. I thought it would be the Mission Impossible D-mask stab, but maybe that doesn't make sense.
But yeah, so there was...
Bran has like no face somewhere. Just bandaged up.
So there was...
He's like, this is fine, I don't care.
There was nothing like tricky or skillful or whatever about it. She just did it.
Which pretty much for the entire episode, people just brute forced their way with no special talent into survival with their main character, Aura.
Yeah. Everyone who was important just like plot armored their way through.
Tank that shit.
Yeah, and there was no nuance to anything.
What do we do now? Well, sorry.
Oh, I was gonna say one of the two or three or however many things I wanted to talk about. The other one that I do specifically remember is, so she stabs the Night King and he dies.
Yeah.
Fine. But then the whole like chain reaction, everyone else blows
dies.
up.
Yeah.
Like Phantom Menace, and you blow up the main computer ship, and like Avengers when you nuke the thing in space and whatever, and they all shut down.
Yeah. It's cute.
That's so fucking lame.
Yeah. I mean, they would have. He's the one that rose all the ones that were currently fighting, so they would have had a reprieve to like, oh, we got to kill those motherfuckers or whatever. Or maybe you scatter one to the woods so you have like a plot thread. Yeah. But instead they're like, and then everyone exploded.
Yeah, like, which definitely makes me confused as to like, why would you, if you were the Night King, need to personally deal with this, right? Like, why would you need to be the one who, like, why would you want to expose yourself to this when you're clearly winning and you still have your zombie dragon on your team,
Yeah.
or whatever. Like, what is the point of that? Like, we didn't get any reason as to why he needed to do that when he seemed like he was perfectly okay with letting everyone else do everything else. Like, when John showed up, and I was like, is this the duel? And he was like, no, fight my goons.
For a second, it looks like he's a brilliant tactician. And then the next second, he's YOLO riding on the dragon. Woo! Let's fucking get him. Put me down. Put me down. I want to stab myself. Woo! No one said the Night King was smart, you know.
It feels like the thing where you it feels bad because you're questioning like basic logic decisions. Like, you're like, what is the point of this? And then you're like, oh, you lost because you're on the ground like everyone fucking else, and you're not stab proof. So
You're worse than stab proof, because if someone gets a special kind of metal, you explode.
Yeah, which confuses me because
like, you need thicker armor. You guys need to be in plate.
like, you okay, like, I don't know. So maybe the thing is he didn't think anybody could stab him. Like, maybe he didn't know about Valyrian steel.
I mean, you saw John smash one of them.
Yeah, so I'm so confused.
So he did stay away from that guy. He's like, never. I don't want to mess.
Oh, he's like, but only one guy has that kind of
Only one
sword.
has that.
Turns out
Everyone knows Valyrian steel is really rare. There's only 17 swords, Valyrian swords, right there, right now, in Winterfell.
Oh,
That's how rare it is.
yeah. So
Fucking Sam's like tripping over one. He's like, "Who left this my Valyrian heirloom sword here? You take it. I'm tired of carrying all this fucking Valyrian
It's heavy.
steel. I have 3 more."
Yeah.
And Ginny's carrying.
I do
Who
think-
might be dead.
I think it's great that everyone has like an Ultima weapon, just casually.
Yeah, you know, it's a family heirloom.
Whatever. So yeah, I think as far as like character stories go, we didn't get like, honestly, I felt like no one got like a huge amount of development. Most people
Not
just
a big
kind of
arc. Yeah, Ice King's arc just slammed into a wall.
like, I guess we learned that Arya is as like cool as we thought she was. Like, we're like, oh, she's a cool assassin sort of thing,
yeah,
and
she
she
is.
did. Yeah. The only people who like maybe advanced a little bit were like Tyrion and Sansa. Like, maybe like they had like a little bit of dialogue, and they had like their like nice moment.
Yeah, that's
and
it.
whatever.
Just like friends zone. You know, it's cool.
And then everybody else just kind of did what they normally did. Like,
Yeah.
like Jon Snow did his thing where he battles, but like he
Then
never
runs off
seemed
by himself every battle.
he always ends up by himself, and he always like,
He's always really tired.
yeah, everything is like labored, and he's like, oh god, I gotta do this shit again.
Oh.
Which feels bad because he keeps on getting in these situations.
Maybe we should send someone else.
So
Someone who sticks tighter to the formation.
yeah, so unless you want to bring up anyone in particular, I think we can advance to like, let's speculate for next week's episode, or like ambient.
Yeah, I mean, how are they going to end this now? What's the epilogue? I think we're moving into extended epilogue, and that's kind of why they wrote it this way. Now we're going to have everyone gets a finished arc instead of the last 10 minutes, like Brienne and Red Guy had babies and, you know, whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's Cersei related.
I mean, it has to be.
Yeah.
Oh, I guess that was kind of wild. I was definitely expecting them to cut to King's Landing, at least to give us like a little bit of a break, or at least to mix things up, or you know, Cersei gets news of it, or you know, on the off chance that like the Night King went to King's Landing or whatever instead. That didn't happen. Boo, boring. Whatever. It doesn't matter. But yeah, so like obviously it has to be Cersei related because she didn't show up in the episode at all.
Right.
And like obviously we're gonna have some more conflict because it would be way too easy to resolve everything just like normal people and just talk about things.
You can also do the tricky stuff now because they didn't have any. So they might end with like a big like, oh, one more wedding on the last episode. Come on, guys. And everyone dies. So yeah, they have no armies anymore. So that is the one thing that this episode kind of did. is the wildlings are gone, the North people are pretty much gone, the Grey Worm Unsullied are pretty much gone.
Yeah, everyone who is at Winterfell, like, I don't know what the numbers are now, but it's going to be whatever, dramatically less.
Yeah.
Right? So you have less of an army there. You still have the Ironborn people, whatever's left of them, floating around the islands.
There's like 4 of them.
There's like 3 ships or whatever, right? And then you have all of the Lannister, whoever else wasn't in the North, plus all of the uncles, Uncle Greyjoy's people, the bank, whatever,
right.
troops or whatever. And now we only have 1 dragon left, and we specifically have weird alchemist dude, who is like the hand of Cersei, who's like, I made a big arrow thing that you can shoot a dragon with. Right. So I guess
mean, well played to her, 'cause she was like, I bet they could live. Maybe, and they exactly came through. Army reduced to 0, and hers is good. Like, she's in a good place.
Okay, so I guess here's
maybe she wins and that's the end. Would they do that? Because everyone wants to see her die so bad. Is that the ultimate twist? Is like Cersei's like, I played it correctly?
I mean, I think she was the one in the first season or whatever who actually said the Game of Thrones, like she said the line. I think she said the line, so maybe. I personally, so obviously there's going to be some sort of conflict. We're probably going to lose the last dragon because we've been so close to losing all the dragons like over and over again that might as well, right?
There definitely is like a Lord of the Rings like end of magic vibe here.
Yeah,
it's like these things kind of come in and then they leave very quickly. Like all the dryads are dead, the Night King's dead. All the Red Lady's dead,
Yeah.
Sort of this drifting off of all that stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think I don't know if I should call that like a theme, but that's definitely been like we're pushing all of that out, right? And like obviously we're gonna have to have some sort of confrontation, battle, whatever thing, even if it's not on the same scale, right? But to me, at least, the fact that we plot armored so many fucking people in this episode makes me feel like they won't let Cersei win, that they will kill her, because it seems I don't want to call it fan servicey.
Just a battalion of main characters will rush the gates. There's no way they can kill us. We could take like 10,000 each.
But
rush the gates, kill her. Nice.
It definitely feels like they're kind of like pandering to the audience now.
A little bit.
And
well, also they want threads, right? Because that's how the show works. Is show these 2 people together, these 2 people together, these 2 people together. So if you only have 3 people, you only have 10 minutes of show, or 15, I guess.
But I wouldn't be surprised if they did something where in the next couple episodes, like Cersei's side seems like it's winning, and then she like dies in some whatever throat.
I mean, for sure, Uncle Greyjoy's stock went way up, right?
Yeah, sure.
He's like in line. You know what I mean? He's like very close, way closer than he's ever been to like sealing this thing.
Yeah, but I mean, he also seems like a character who like you just die.
They're both bastards, which is not good for surviving in this show. All the bastards, actual bastards.
So yeah, I guess as far as like
bastards.
Next week's episode, or directly what's happening, does Cersei move north? Does Cersei just chill the whole time?
She makes some kind of threat, yeah. So that's restart the final arc. She moves against somebody.
Yeah, but I guess that's the question: is does she move? Does she need to move? If you are Daenerys, Jon, whoever's left, do you make a move somewhere, or do you just try and rebuild at Winterfell as best you can? I guess now that we are minus ice zombies, what's everyone's collective move? Because before there were like 3 big armies or whatever floating around and like 2 areas,
Yeah.
and now we're still at 2 areas, but now we have like 1.5 armies
Yeah.
floating around. So there doesn't really seem like.
I mean, I can. So I'm going to give you. Are you ready for the straight talk?
I'm so ready.
This is what's going to happen. Popular Uprising is how it's ended, with Daenerys's the breaker of chains thing subverting Cersei's I'm just queen bitch thing. So she moves on Winterfell or whatever. She hurts them, and they scatter and they do last ditch something in King's Landing something. But they've set up 2 arcs now where the people are against her. The people don't really like her, and they've set up like 5 arcs for Daenerys where she is well loved by anyone who comes near her, right? The people, peasants. So I think this is going to be the bloody revolution, the communist, but you know, still we're going to have a queen, so it's not it's not totally communist, but yeah, hammer sickle. I think that's how it ends. I think it goes into peasant revolt that turns it. So that's the 3rd army now, or the 2nd army now.
I feel hesitant to agree with you only because of how like weirdly like power hungry she's been as of late. And I don't know if we're going to do the thing where we just kind of forget about that or if it's actually going to build into something, right?
Well, maybe that's why they did this episode, is they're like, we're going to get it so that you can't guess what's going to happen. Because as long as the Night King's out there, you can guess that they will all come to a head with him in a battle, right? But now that he's gone, it can really go anywhere if they wanted to, right?
Yeah, and I think that's something that's kind of a bummer, because I was hoping more for a sort of like 3-way struggle for power sort of thing, where like maybe, you know, like Winterfell army gets like defeated and has to scatter, and then Night King moves on King's Landing, and then maybe we do have to kind of come together to try and beat the whatever. But instead we immediately resolved Night King problems. That's done. Unless there's some bullshit mumbo jumbo that we don't know about, but it seems like they're all out of that. And then as far as like Cersei and company goes, there's not anything really like wild or unexpected about them. They're just like a big army, and you're like, okay,
Yeah.
fine. The only thing that I can think of is that like this is since we specifically saved Tyrion has to make some sort of clever play, like Tyrion's last clever play is like he's gonna figure out how to like bring down the Armada or whatever. Yeah, because otherwise I'm like, why are we keeping this dude around? So I think as far as like directly next episode, I think it's going to be Cersei learning what happened, and then Cersei saying, okay, here's the plan, you know, mobilize the ships or whatever, we're doing the thing. And then everybody at Winterfell being like, oh my god, that sucked, what do we do now? And then having maybe some sort of like internal fight about like Daenerys is going to be like, yeah, you know, like, let's go another round, and Jon's gonna be like, oh my god, we're so bad at this. There's like 20 of us.
Let's go north of the wall.
So
We're the wildlings now.
I guess it would be neat to see them move location, but I don't even know where they would go to. But is it time for Dorne to make a play?
Finally, the rise of Dorne. The ascendancy. She's still alive, the Queen Mother. She's chilling in a dungeon in King's Landing.
Yeah,
so.
didn't we see her like daughter dying or whatever?
Yeah,
but
so she's got hate fuel.
alive still. Okay.
So Dorne could still come in big here. They're like, you killed my great grandfather, the Night King. He was just trying to get home.
So, yeah, I mean, I think we do have like a few characters in reserve who we could do something with, but I don't even know. I guess it feels like there's not. It doesn't feel like there's a whole lot of room, even though you have like this whole giant whatever like continent thing that they're on, and that you're like talking about like one of the like southernmost cities versus like so far north you're in like the frigid wasteland. It doesn't seem like there's a lot of space. Like it seems like it's pretty much done.
They dealt with most of the people up and down.
Yeah.
Got melted or murdered.
So the only thing that like feels like you could possibly go to or do anything with is the is like the other continent thing, Essos, or the other big island or whatever.
First Sons are still around.
But for the most part, it seems like we kind of forgot about that, and it doesn't matter.
They need boats and stuff. It's not gonna work.
Yeah, and
You could just go there and be kings of a continent. That's okay.
Yeah, but it's not the one we want.
It's not the good one with all the dead zombies on it.
So, yeah, it seems very.
I think that's the bad one when you have to build a giant wall to keep monsters out. The one with the sun and pyramids seems much nicer. It's just smaller or something. I don't know.
It just seems like there's not a lot left. Like, I know we still have 3 episodes, but the fact that they resolved the whole Night King thing in 1 essentially makes me feel like I don't know what else we're gonna do for 3 episodes, and they're like 3 long episodes too. So,
well, one thing's for sure, we'll talk about whatever stupid thing they get up to. So
fine. I guess we will find out where Game of Thrones takes us next week.
We'll see where it's going. Yes.
All right. It's time to go to the bathroom.